This is a video for the air brake test. We've continued doing the pre-trip. We've completed all of our lamp checks and all of the exterior and interior portions for the pre-trip. Now we're ready to proceed to the brake test. 3 things we must do before we begin the brake test. Number 1, and most importantly, make sure that the No Child Left Behind has been deactivated. We're also going to make sure we're on level ground. If not, we're going to chock the wheels, as well as we're going to make sure that our tanks are filled to 120 psi. At this point, we're ready to begin. We do a key off, key on, emergency brake off. We're looking up on our dash to make sure there are no red icons on the dash, to make sure that our brakes are completely off. We're going to wait a minute after the needles stabilize, and we're checking to make sure we don't lose more than 2 psi in that minute. We're going to time for a full minute. Let's assume a minute has gone by. At this point, we're going to put the system under pressure by putting our foot on the service brake. We're going to wait for the needle to stabilize. It should stabilize between 90 and 110 psi. We're going to time it for a minute to make sure we don't lose any more than 3 psi in a minute. Let's assume the minute has gone by. Now we're going to drain the tanks. By fanning the brake, the gauges should drop. When it gets to 60 psi, the light should come on and the alarm should sound. At 20 to 40 psi, or according to manufacturer specs, the parking brake or emergency brake should pop out. There, it's popped out. Now we start the engine. We're going to refill the tanks. We're going to bring the RPMs up to 15 to 1800 RPMs. The alarm is going to go off around 70 psi as it fills. That's our indication that we need to start looking at the gauges. And we're going to time between 85 and 100 psi, and the tank should fill in less than 45 seconds. The alarm has gone off. Now we're watching the dial to get to 85. Then we're counting 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006, 1007, 1008, 1009, 1010, 1011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015. 15 seconds to get to 100 psi. It's well within the 45 seconds. Allow the pressure to go up to full when you hear the regulator open up, as it just did. We're then going to test the emergency brake holding. Foot on the brake, D for drive, and we're going to accelerate to 1200 RPMs and make sure that the emergency brake holds. Once it holds, we're then going to release the emergency brake with it still in drive, checking our mirrors to make sure no one's around. We're going to move forward at 5 miles an hour, come to a full stop, looking for any kind of pulling noise, any kind of unusual reaction of the brakes. At that point, we secure our bus, parking brake neutral, feet on the floor. We've completed our brake test, and we can proceed with the portion of the exam.